That's right. Today I'm going to be beating a game called Cuphead with the worst weapon in the game, the Chaser. Do not fact check me on that one. Google told me. Anyway, hopping into the game, we start by getting 3 coins from an apple because that just makes sense. Oh, I forgot to mention, I'm a cup. Anyway, we got these 3 coins because we actually have to buy this worst weapon in the game. The only problem is it costs 4. Now there is a way to get coins all around the map, the first of which is a run and gun, which is what I'm going to be taking on. Now normally this run and gun isn't that bad, but like I said before, the Chaser was the only weapon I could use, which means I can't actually gun in the run and gun. Now you'd think, hey, that's not a problem, people probably have beat it like that before, and yes they have, but I haven't. Well, not without the help of Miss Chalice. So I did make an exception for this run and gun. I could only use EX moves and I could only use them on the acorn shooter. Nothing else, no mini bosses. So hopping into the game, you would think that it would be quite easy. Maybe I wouldn't get it first try, maybe on the second, maybe on the third. Yeah, that did not happen. This ended up being the second hardest challenge I did this entire challenge, and the fact that I couldn't actually gun down the little running flowers made this challenge just a whole lot harder than it's meant to be, because they'll end up clamping the screen, pretty much leaving me no place to land, and because of that I ended up taking far longer than I anticipated on this challenge, because it would take half an hour until I beat it. But sure enough, I actually did beat it at the end of the day, and well, the clip ended up laggy, but if you want proof, here it is. Yeah, and that is the first obstacle completed. So with a quick trip to the shop, I ended up buying the Chaser and the heart ring because it's extra health. I said why not? And on would come the first boss of this fight, the root pack. Now the root pack wasn't too much to handle. I did somehow manage to take a couple hits, leaving me on 1 HP, but I still beat them my first try. Up next we had Ruby and Croaks, who weren't much of a challenge. I managed to take them down my first try with 3 HP to spare in a recorded time of 2 minutes and 50 seconds, which would somewhat be kind of a trend of how long it was going to take me to beat all these bosses. So now it was time for a quick detour. Normally you would take on the other bosses, but I took a trip to the mausoleum, took down the little flying pink things in order to unlock Miss Chalice at the DLC Island. Because in case you didn't know, Miss Challenge, who is insane by the way, makes this game 10 times better. Now with Miss Chalice equipped, it was time to beat Goopy Legrand, which wasn't close at all. But yeah, Goopy would also fall to me first try, and now it is on to Hildeberg. Now, Hildeberg is actually a plain mission, which means I cannot use the Chaser. So for most of the plain missions, I'm not gonna show you much, I'm just gonna tell you I won, which of course I did. Now normally plain missions are just such a pain to me and I absolutely hate them, and I think they are harder than any ground mission, but somehow I managed to beat her first try. Okay, maybe not first, but I did manage to take her down my second try with a perfect score by the way, and yeah, that's it. Now going back into the ground bosses, we were met with Cargny Carnation, who wasn't too much to handle. I ended up taking him down my first try with 2 HP to spare, and we were on to Inkwell IO 2. Our first up in IO2 was Miss Bonbon, who wasn't much of a challenge. She got taken down first try as well. Next up was Baby the Clown, who wasn't even that hard. It's all good though, because we took him down the next try. Okay. The next try we took him down. And you know what they say, 3 is better than 2 and 2 is better than 1. I don't think anyone says that. But yeah, we beat him and it wasn't close at all. Why are you dancing as if he didn't just almost beat you 3 times in a row? Anyway, next up, both Jimmy and the bird got taken down without breaking too much of a sweat. It only took a few tries, but we were on to the next one, which would end up being the biggest obstacle I would face this entire challenge, the dragon guy. Now you'd think the run and gun was the longest fight this entire challenge would see, but it seems that this dude took that incredibly personal and decided to just go ballistic on me. This guy was not playing, because the 2 of us went to tango for a total of 43 minutes, and yes, I actually counted this, a total of 14 tries, 5 restarts, and 3 rage quits before he finally yielded. He just wasn't fun. Even moments where I would end up in the final phase of this guy with all my HP and an extra hit point from Miss Chalice, he would still somehow manage to find a way to absolutely destroy me and get the W. Yeah, he just wasn't having it. But just as I was about to wrap up and scrap this entire video, he won again. I decided to give it another try and he won. Then I gave it another try and he won again. Then I gave it a third try and I actually beat him this time with 2 HP to spare. I don't know how I put that off. But yeah, in terms of the hardest bosses this entire challenge, this guy is a 15 out of 10. I do not recommend. But with that out of the way, it's time for Inkwell IO 3. And in Inkwell IO 3, I proceeded to take down Miss Honeybottoms, which yes, is her name. I took it down my second try and it wasn't close at all. After Miss Honeybottoms came this captain guy who actually was so bad at beating me that his ship actually had to throw him overboard just to try and beat me. And they both fell to me first try. So this wasn't a challenge. Super easy. Anyway, next up we had Cala Maria, and again plain mission, so you just know I won. And now it was time for Sally stage play. Now I decided to have some fun. I wanted to relax a bit, so I decided to unlock her second phase, which would be a very bad idea because her and her husband went on to 2v1 me and absolutely get the W. Anyway, in the second fight I decided not to take on her husband as well, and I got the W, so that's cool. With the next boss of this challenge, I took on the cat and mouse duo, which, well, what can I say? It wasn't even that. Yeah, it's all good though because the power of the chaser was way too much for them and I ended up taking them out the next try in a recorded time of 2 minutes and 20 seconds. Now I know I said I wouldn't talk much about plain missions, but I just have to vent out real quick. This guy, this dude right here, this freaking tinfoil triangle nose trash can he's just such a pain, man. I cannot stress enough how annoying this guy was to fight. He didn't take me 30 minutes, but he for sure drained all my energy. It was just so much going on and I just hate this guy. But yeah, eventually I managed to beat him. And for the final boss of Inkwell IO 3, we have the Phantom Express, which if you think this fight is hard, you'd be heavily mistaken because it's not. In as much as I did not take him down the first try because I am using an incredibly bad weapon, I took him down the second try, and with one of the most OP weapons in the game, which is Crackshot, I literally take this guy out in the first try. But wrapping it up, we have 2 more boss fights. We got King Dice, who literally makes you fight an entire army before you get to him. So first things first, I started by rolling a 1 to get an extra hit point. Next up, I rolled a 3 to get a safe space before rolling another 3 to fight the horse guy, which again, plain mission. Next, I rolled another 3 for the 8 ball. Wasn't much of a challenge. And yeah, all I had to do now was roll a 2 and then another 2 to finally fight King Dice. Now, considering the fact that Miss Chalice actually parries with a dash and not a little jump thing like Cuphead, this was just super easy. I would like to say it was a challenge, but it really wasn't. It was just, I feel like I bullied him. But forgetting all that, we got the final boss of this challenge, who happens to be the easiest boss in this entire game. Well, on a normal day it is, but this time I'm using the chaser, which just made it much more easier and totally not annoying at all. Anyway, with little to no skill, I somehow managed to beat him in a record time of 2 minutes and 20 seconds to close this challenge out, securing me the W and securing this video a bunch of views. Anyway, if you did enjoy that video, consider liking, consider subscribing, consider doing whatever besides unsubscribing, and I'll see you in the next video. If you want me to make another challenge video, do something else, let me know in the comments. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.